team tries to resolve that for us. This evening we are going to have our opening ceremony by James Boyd, who is CAPSA's Chief Development Officer. Come on up, James.
Thank you. My name is James Boyd. I'm one of the leadership team at CAPSA, and October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So we're going around to all the cities and all the counties this month and sharing this message and connecting this amazing support we receive from our community with the work we provide. Last year we helped 2,429 individuals with direct services. We know that domestic violence is going to impact 1 in 3 women and 1 in 5 men in our state, in our area. Yet because this victimization is a private violence, it happens behind closed doors, we oftentimes don't see it. We don't know about it. And we don't know the struggles it has. So I want to share a story to help connect that work with what we do. It's in our annual report, page 5, I believe. Yeah, page 5 is one of these stories. And this is of a mother and 2 children who were living in an abusive home. And she was working to hide this abuse because she didn't have a job, and she was worried if she left, she'd end up being homeless. And she thought it was better for her kids to stay in this abusive relationship, but to hide it from her kids. But one night it spilled over and became very visible. And she decided, I have to leave. And she had heard about CAPSA, so she called, and it took a couple phone calls of talking to her, building a plan, creating a safety plan for her, so that she could leave and leave safely. And it was determined that she just needed to gather a few of her important documents and just leave that first opportunity she had. So she fled one night when he went out on a run errand and came to CAPSA with just a few belongings. And we helped her. Our shelter is an emergency homeless shelter for victims of domestic and sexual violence. It's a unique shelter in our state. We're the only shelter in Utah that is a zero turn-away shelter, meaning that people, residents of Logan, of Cache County, of Franklin County, of Bridge County, if they're in our area and they qualify for our services, we will make room. Last year we spent over $80,000 in hotels to make sure we didn't turn away anyone. And so when individuals come, like this, she came, we start safety planning, we start action planning. We have caseworkers meet daily. And so with her, we determined that she needed to find a job so then she could afford housing. So she were able to get a job at a call center. We have some relationships with several businesses that let us expedite applications. And she was able to get a job, and she was on cloud 9 because her biggest fear was, if I leave, I'm going to be homeless. So she sat down, she could see how she could budget, she was ready to move. She started applying for apartments, but she realized that her husband had taken out credit in her name and failed to pay it. So her credit was bad. And she couldn't qualify for this at any apartment. Again, CAPS is unique. Our housing is very robust. We have funding that we can help about 20 families where we subsidize their rent in our community. We partner with organizations like BRAG and help others. But for individuals like her who couldn't afford or couldn't qualify, we own our own housing. We're unique, and we have 21 homes that we own. And so she was able to move into one of our homes. And just that hope of being able to say, this is your place. You can stay here for up to 2 years. And I'll stop at this story because I want to encourage you to finish and read it. But this is just a story of 3 people. And last year I said we helped 2,429 individuals, so that's 3 of them. But we also this year, as we're going around from city to city, we wanted to break down how many people of each of your residents do we support. So last year, we provided direct services to 1,452 individuals that when they started working with CAPSA, they were a Logan resident. 1,400 people, 1,452 were from Logan, and we help those services. So today, before our meeting, we had our city council, our mayor, our police chief, take a photo with this sign, and we started a marketing campaign. You might see signs around our community. The campaign is You Matter. And it's really a message to 3 people. One is those survivors. You matter to us. You matter to our community. You matter. The next is those who support us through our donors, through our civic partners, through businesses who, if you notice downtown, is turned purple. To say to survivors, you matter, we care, and your support of CAPSA is helping people. And then finally, to our employees who do amazing work who oftentimes are going and seeing, they matter to this work as well. So I appreciate you taking this picture. My last call to action really is, there is a lot of businesses in our community, down Main Street, down Center, that have painted purple. Please thank them. For October being Domestic Violence Awareness Month, they wanted to show that our community mattered. As being downtown Logan, please thank them for their support. Any questions?
Do a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you put yourself out of business someday.
Yes.
I mean, I think as a community, I think we should all pledge to put CAPSA out of business by supporting programs that help reduce domestic violence. And I think that's something that we can all play a part in that. And I know that you guys have great community education tools that we can all take advantage of to help understand and do our part too. It's not just on CAPSA to help reduce that 1452 each year. So thanks for everything that you're doing.
I was just going to say that I remember a long time ago we wrote a promotional piece that said the best thing that could happen in our community was if we never didn't need CAPSA anymore. But,
Yep.
but the work that they're doing is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And since I also want to take a second with Logan City Police Chief here. We had the Lieutenant Governor of CAPSA about a month ago, and they were walking through doing a tour. And we have one of our board members is Brad Frankie, Lieutenant Brad Frankie, and he was there. And the Lieutenant Governor paused me. I was speaking. She said, "I just need to let you know that what Logan City Police Department and CAPSA has." When we started this mandate for our week value assessment protocol a year and a half ago was light years ahead. And she says, I'm traveling the state and I still see it is the model and it continues to be light years ahead. So working with Logan City Police, also need to thank them for their partnership because it truly is saving lives. And so thank you as well. I was asked to also lead the Pledge of Allegiance. So can I ask everyone to stand? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, James.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we would move on to acceptance of the minutes and approval of tonight's agenda. I will admit I did not have an opportunity to thoroughly review the minutes before today, and there are some changes that I would like to send on to Teresa for those, so.
I agree.
Okay, that you didn't have time either, or that there's some
No, I agree
changes?
there's some changes, yes.
So if we could have
I move we approve the agenda for this evening.
okay, let's start with that.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, our agenda is approved. And then as far as the minutes go, Craig, is it all right if Teresa takes those changes and sends them out and we do a vote by email, or do we need to bring them back to our next meeting?
Bring it back to the next meeting and approve both minutes.
Okay, so can we have a motion for?
I move we continue
Thank you.
the approval of the minutes to the November 5th meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will continue the acceptance of the minutes to our first meeting in November. Just as a reminder, the Logan City Council does meet every first and third Tuesday here in the council chambers at 5:30. Our next meeting will be on November 5th. At this time, we always open up the floor for questions and comments for the mayor and the council. If anyone would like to come and comment on any item not otherwise on the agenda this evening, you can come and address the city council by stepping up to the microphone, giving your name, and where in the city you reside for our record. We ask that you limit your comments to no more than 3 minutes. If you're here with a group, which it doesn't look like, we always ask that a spokesman be appointed. And just a reminder that we'd like you to comment on non-agenda items that are germane to the city and to the council's authority. And if there's anything that comes up, we'll make sure that we get that turned over to the appropriate city staff for follow-up afterwards. So the floor is open.
Hello, council members. My name is Albert Weeby. I'm a resident here in Logan. I reside at 701 Canyon Road. So what I'd like to do is talk just briefly about the large water project that is being developed here in Logan. And I understand it's a very complicated, costly project to help support the growing population here in Cache Valley, and Logan in particular. What I'd like to know is if the city are planning on developing a cost comparison to alternate routes for this pipeline project, and whether that's going to be something that will be available, whether that's started. But I think there are many residents that are interested in seeing a comprehensive comparison to the routes that are viable. I think that from little that I've understood so far with the project, I know it's in its infancy, is that Canyon Road was one of the considerations, and there are a lot of residents that are concerned about the impact to this project and what that will mean to Canyon Road. And so I think it would be nice to help all the residents to understand the complexity and the ramifications of this project, with the comparisons to alternate routes and the pros and cons, the trades that are going to be involved in that. So that's just, I would like to ask for that as something that is part of the planning. I don't know if I've heard, I don't know if this is the case, that 400 North is under consideration as part of an alternate. And so if that is, it'd be nice to see how that compares to widening a residential street. It seems that 400 North already exists a very large roadway footprint and would probably accommodate a very large pipeline project without having the ramifications of widening a residential street and the additional costs in widening and in adding sidewalks and such.
That's time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I appreciate
Did you
all
leave your email on the sign-up sheet so we can get a reply to you? Now,
Just
as you come in the door, if you'll leave your
Okay, very
email
good.
there.
Well, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Consideration.
And Mayor Dan still has the appropriate department
Yes.
follow up with Albert. Okay, thank
He
you.
will have answers for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to let her know to give you Happy New Year. Rosh Hashanah was a couple weeks ago, and this last Friday, Yom Kippur started. That is the Day of Atonement, where we ask for forgiveness. If I have offended anybody, please forgive me. And we also offer to forgive others, because that is, at least once a year, we try to do that as in the Jewish culture. I'm also LDS, so it gets very complicated in my life, and my children grew up with double guilt. So I just wanted you to know, Happy New Year. It is a good New Year, 5785. And we should have a prosperous New Year. It is later than usual because this last year had 13 months. It's a lunar calendar. So the month of Adar goes twice in the lunar calendar when we have a 13th month. So it's Adar the 2nd. And then from now on, it'll be until the next time that we need to change it back to 13 months. It'll be 12 months between. anyway, I just thought I'd give you that information. It is a good year, and we can make good things happen.
Well, Happy New Year to you too, Dr. Yost.
Hello, my name is Brandon Elwood, 623 Canyon Road, just right along the Dubsey Dugway. I've spoken with some of you already, and I'm appreciative of the efforts made to alert some of us there at the end of Canyon Road that are going to be especially impacted by the potential water line project. This is a little new, the civic engagement thing, and it's good to be a part of this process, but I just want to read a petition that we've put together. We're in the, I would say, early stages of gathering support from the community to oppose the current route that's been proposed. And so I'll go ahead and read the words of that petition here. We, the undersigned, urge the Logan City Council to reconsider the proposed water line and sidewalk project on Canyon Road, which threatens the island neighborhood's historic ash trees, some of which are at least 100 years old. These trees are vital to our community's character and the unique identity of the island. Their removal would significantly diminish our neighborhood's aesthetic and cultural value. And the proposed sidewalk is unnecessary as there is already a functional and underutilized sidewalk on the other side of the road, which serves hundreds more homes than the new option would. The financial, environmental, and residential costs and impacts of completing this project on Canyon Road far outweigh any limited benefits. Alternatives exist that would allow the project to continue in locations that would not disturb these historic trees. This proposal isn't about halting progress, but modifying it to respect and uphold our community's distinctive appeal. We seek your support in urging the City Council to relocate their water line and sidewalk project, thereby safeguarding our historic trees and preserving the character of the island. And I'll just note that I've begun to have conversations with community members, and there's been unanimous support thus far for preserving the island's character through preserving our trees and just the feel that we have. We're in early stages now, so you'll see that support continue to grow. But would love to have a dialogue with you as City Council and to work toward a shared resolution there. So let's see. I don't need to take the full time. Just a quick note that tonight my family was going to go to the pumpkin walk. My daughter also has a concert, but I found it important enough to come before you guys tonight to discuss this. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
And just quickly,
Sign it,
sign in outside, please. Thank you.
You bet.
My name is Phil Bauer. I live here in Logan. I'm here to talk about what happened on October 3rd. On October 3rd, I was tra-la-la around, walking like I usually do. I do not believe Logan City is a safe, walkable community. It is not. There is not. I have never gone a week without having a close call with the vehicle in the crosswalk. Now, what I call a close call is 3 feet or less, sometimes inches. One time, my favorite great big old mug was knocked right out of my hand by the mirror of a person's car. So here's what happened on October 3rd. Over here in this intersection by the courthouse, there's a car in the crosswalk. It's a north-south crosswalk. And a school bus had to swerve around it, semi had to swerve around. It was Looney Tunes. It was like the cartoon you see on Saturday morning. Cars going every which way, not. And the car was there for 2 changes of light. I took a picture, called it into the police department. I took several pictures. I'm not good at working my phone. I had more entertaining pictures to show the council. And, 10 minutes goes by, no police, no nothing. The car did leave, head west, turn east. They have somewhere in there, I'll have to find a 12-year-old to find it for me. Videotape of, the license plate and everything. Now, I been told that, the officer was, like I said, after 10 minutes, 1 block from the police station, after 10 minutes, I was told just recently the officer was going somewhere else. Well, I did see a police officer come by after 10 minutes. This is what I witnessed. Well, that makes me mad. That is, to me, nobody cares. So I complained, and I basically felt like I got a big, the fickle finger of fate. I'm trying to be polite here. I feel like I can use that phrase, because my relative flew that plane over Tokyo. Now, when I was talking to the officer, 2 officers over at the police station, I was PO'd. If anybody's ever seen that, it's not nice. But this jittering and stuff is not because I'm going to hurt anyone or anything like that. It is because it is part of the injuries I suffered in an accident in a crosswalk. Now, I showed the rest of you guys the injuries, but first of all, none of you are wearing sunglasses. And second of all, I would probably get an obscenity charge because I have 12 major surgeries because of that accident. And, I can't walk from my house to Smith's 1 week, not for a week, without having. I have seen a car on the 4th North First East intersection come inches of a baby carriage. I'm going to call them in every time. I try to get pictures and stuff like that. 60% of the cars do not have license plates. Some cars don't even have a spot for a license plate on the front of the car. And second of all, I'm too busy trying to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Anybody else have any comments for the council this evening? All right, I will then bring it back to mayor and staff reports for this evening. Mayor Deans.
Great, thank you very much. And I have one item that's not in the agenda. I would like to ask Karen Clark, our library director, to come forward. We would like to give her a special recognition tonight. After 27 years of serving at the library, she has announced she is retiring. So she is now going to...
And she's smiling.
now going to go play. But we have a little recognition for her tonight from the council, and then the rest of the staff has a little celebration planned later on in the month. But her official last day is October 31. So thank you so much for your years of service.
Oh, we better all get up.
Karen, how many is director and how many is?
7 is director.
7 is director, and
Some of
then.
the hardest years ever.
But look, I mean, she opened a new library. I mean, talk about sort of accomplishing some dreams.
She decided where everything was going to go. She was incredibly important in how that building is functioning.
So, 3 cheers. Thank you. And the next item I have is also an award. We would like Ambry Darley, our Human Resources Director, to come up. Logan City has been awarded the Cigna Healthy Workforce designation. Cigna is our insurance provider, and Ambry and the HR department, Heather, they do a really great job just at coming up with ideas to help our employees be healthy, activities. And so again, they received this award, and congratulations for all your good work. Do you want to say at the microphone?
As the mayor mentioned, it's not just me, like my assistant Heather does a great job, but it's also the support from administration, from the council, from the mayor that really helps us, and also participation from our employees. If it wasn't for our employees, we wouldn't be able to do these activities. So I really do appreciate that as well. So thank you.
Thank you. And the last item under mayor reports is we have an update. We usually do this annually from Superintendent Frank Schofield of the Logan City School District. We appreciate our great relationship with the school district. We partner on some things. We occasionally have people who think we're one and the same, that the city council controls the school district, but they have their very own elected school board. But we appreciate the working relationship, and we have to apologize to the superintendent. Our projector is still not working. Just so the council knows, this meeting is on YouTube, but they tell me we only have one camera that is fixed on the council, and the projector is still not working. They're working on it, but we apologize. If you don't mind just going ahead with your presentation. I'm sure you had a great PowerPoint prepared for us.
I emailed it to the council.
Oh, great. Okay, so they will be able
I do
to.
not mind that YouTube doesn't get to see me this evening.
You
Just
can
fine.
stand right over here if you'd like.
Microphone, you know.
Oh, it's okay, we'll fix it. Here, I got one right here.
I just want to really briefly echo the words of Mayor Davies and appreciate and express appreciation for the partnership that we do have with the city. There are states in the country where single city school districts are governed by the local city council.
Like Chicago.
Yeah, there are, but that's where the way it works, and that creates its own unique challenges and opportunities. But we appreciate what we've been able to do to partner with you all. The partnership we have with the police department through our school resource officers, partnerships with facilities, with programs. Just today, had the first meeting, I believe, the Logan Youth Council with the mayor and with Councilmember Lopez. So there are a number of opportunities like that, which is why we do this report every year. So we, as a school district, and I, superintendent, can report to you all as a city council some of the things that we're doing as a school district to try to serve the needs of the local community. So the PowerPoint that you have does have some information. I'll summarize a little bit of it, but won't go into quite the same depth. The first slide you have has our demographic breakdown, just enrollment by grade level, so you can see what numbers of students we're working with in the district, what schools they attend, and where do we have our bumps. You'll see that most of our grade levels are right around 400 students. You get a little dips and rises in certain grades, but we generally average that across the board. As you look at how that breaks down, we're almost 50-50 male-female in the district. 51%, or 57%, sorry, of our students come from backgrounds of poverty, so low income. 46% minority. We have 32 languages spoken in the district from all over the place. South and Central America, Africa, Southeast Asia. We have a number of language students who come from there. Afghanistan, Pakistan. So we really do have an extremely diverse student population, which is really a fun thing to see, is we have students who interact with students from cultures different from the ones that they grow up in, that they're most familiar with, and they develop those friendships and awareness. As Dr. Yost mentioned, the beauties of Yom Kippur and the Day of Atonement, and these things that our students are able to learn about from their peers. from a variety of cultures, which is one of the really exciting things about working in Logan. In terms of those students and their achievements, sometimes there are questions about, well, as you have these students who are learning English, who are coming from different cultures, what are some of the obstacles they have to overcome, some of the challenges they have to face? And there are realities that those students deal with. We have a number of students who have the experience of coming to us from refugee camps, where their schooling was interrupted. Students for whom English is their third or their fourth language, but it's not the language they're most comfortable with. And they do require some additional support, and it does require extra work from their families. But what we're seeing is that those students, because of their efforts, because of their focus, and because of their commitment, are accomplishing some great things, just as the rest of our students are. A few of those celebrations that you have in there, we, of course, run a Title I preschool in our district. It's our early childhood center. And part of that is funded through a state of Utah grant. So as part of the grant, every participating preschool has to conduct a pre and a post assessment. And it's called the pre-kindergarten entry and exit profile. It's just to see how much progress students make during their time in preschool. Out of the 23 districts that participate in the grant and that are required to do that, our preschool outperforms all of them. So we have a tremendous amount of growth happening at those very initial stages of learning. I got to go spend about 45 minutes at our preschool last week. And it was fantastic because you go into a room of 4-year-olds and they think, well, they don't know if you're supposed to be there or not, but they're willing to accept that you should be there. So they invite you to come sit by them, and then they want you to follow them around the room. And there's this one little girl who made sure that the teacher gave me a copy of all of the worksheets, and I got them by, and they made sure I got a star stamp at the end. But these students are developing both the early literacy and the early numeracy skills they need, but they're also developing an understanding of how to be in a class, how to work with your peers, how to resolve conflict when they get out on the playground or they don't want to share a toy or things like that. And those skills all prepare them for success at the next level. When you get into kindergarten, we've implemented over the last couple of years a new set of routines for teaching early literacy skills. Our kindergarten reading scores are the highest in the state. Our K2 scores are among the highest scores in the state. And those are laying the foundation for students to succeed throughout elementary school and beyond, affecting their self-perception as learners, affecting their attitudes about school, etc. You start to move those successes up into the high school. Logan High School was just recognized last week as an AP honor roll school, which as far as we know is the first time that's happened. And that's based on both the total number of students taking at least one AP class during their high school experience, the number of students passing at least one AP exam, and then the total number of exams that are passed. So they do 4 levels: bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. In terms of the number of students taking at least one AP class, we're just a step away from silver, so we're in the bronze category there. In terms of the total number of students who've passed at least one class, we're in silver, just underneath gold. And in terms of the total number of AP tests passed, we're in the gold, about a centimeter under silver. So about 3 students away, or 3 tests away from that.
You mean platinum?
From platinum. Thank you, Jeannie. As soon as I said that didn't come out right, that wasn't right. So just outstanding work that's being done. One of the exciting things about that is over the last 4 years, the staff at Logan High has increased the number of students taking AP classes by 150 students, and the passing rate has only dropped by 1 percentage point, which is, if you're familiar with the AP exam and what that means, that is a significant increase in the number of students receiving the benefit of that rigorous experience that AP provides, while still having a very high success rate, a high pass rate. This last week, we had our girls doubles tennis team win state. That was just the other day. They are the highest performing athletic team of this season, but they were extremely proud of them. We had 4 National Merit Scholar semifinalists at Logan High. There are 9 in the Valley, 4 of them at Logan High. And we just found out last night that we had 16 academic All-States. That is students who participated in a varsity sport in the fall season, and generally they have to maintain a 4.0 to reach that designation. So a tremendous number of student academic outcomes that we're seeing across the board from K-12. Mount Logan has gone through a whole bunch of changes this year. You may have heard about some of them if you have children or grandchildren at Mount Logan Middle School. The biggest one has been the focus on easing the transition for sixth graders. We know that moving from small elementary school to a significantly larger middle school causes a lot of stress, both for students and their parents. So the school this year has done a great amount of work to help sixth graders feel more comfortable with the transition. Some of their orientation activities, the way they've involved student council. But probably the biggest impact was over the summer, they moved 21 teachers' classrooms so that all of the classes that are just sixth grade are all in one hallway. So it's the 200 hall, which if you're familiar with the building, it's the hallway furthest north. That's just sixth grade now. So 7th and 8th graders have no reason to go in the hall. So it's become essentially a self-contained place for sixth graders. They still, if they, of course, are taking a music class, they walk down one hallway to the cafeteria and then to the music rooms. But otherwise, they're able to spend their time in that one area. And as I was talking with Wendy Wetton, one of our counselors the other day, she said they've had fewer reports of student anxiety with the transition, fewer reports of parent anxiety. And out of 400 sixth graders, there are only 7 sixth graders who are having repeated issues with getting to class on time. Everybody else is where they need to be when they need to be there, which is phenomenal. Getting that rate.
That's because my kids aren't there.
Well, we won't say whose kids are or aren't, but they're getting to class right now. And it's helping those students have a more positive experience. They're feeling more comfortable in class. And that means they're spending more time learning. When I was there, I was there during one of the passing periods, and okay, there's 30 seconds left before the bell rings. No one in the hall. What's happening? And they're all in class, and they've already started working. So the staff there have just done a phenomenal job helping those students transition and really start on a positive note. Facility-wise, we have just a couple of projects going right now. Of course, many of you are aware of what we've done with the Outdoor Learning Center, the old forestry camp that is open, it's running. We have student groups, at least 3 or 4 student groups going up there every week. It has been a fantastic experience for them. And we are working on how we continue to expand that. And we have a few improvements we still want to make. We get a pavilion up there and finish redoing the bunkhouse so it gets restored. But that has been just a fantastic opportunity for students to get that exposure to being in the canyons. As I get feedback from teachers, they're sharing with me that regularly as they drive up in the buses, they have students expressing how they've never been there, they've never been in Logan Canyon, they've never seen this, and this is their first experience enjoying this part of what makes where we live such an amazing place. And then they're up there and they're able to have that as a classroom experience out in the canyon. Our high school environmental science students have cameras up there, so we get trail cam footage of elk, and moose, and foxes, and all sorts of stuff. So it really, we're excited to see how that continues to grow. And if you ever want to see it, and especially see what we're doing with students, let me know. We'll find days that work with your schedule when we have students up there. So you're welcome to come take a look. The other big facility project is our indoor athletic facility, formerly known as the Municipal. We were going to turn that into a pool and use ESSER funds for that. And then the revised codes for public swimming pools came out, and we said, we can't afford that. That's not going to be a viable project. So what are we going to do? So we're turning it into a turfed indoor facility on the main level. We filled in the pools. That's all good to go. They've been redoing plumbing and electrical. So since it's all brick, there's a lot of conduit that's been run through that building now. We're walking through it this morning, but that should be done in the next week or 2. They're working on the awning and replacing walls, but we'll have turf on the main floor, and we'll have a pickleball court painted in the gallery upstairs, and then we put in the motors and the wiring so we can put batting cages up there. So our baseball and softball teams do have a place where they can come and practice, as well as lacrosse and soccer. We put some 18-yard blocks for soccer on the field, and we'll have goals there. So that should be ready. Right now, it should be ready for our spring sports, so they can get over there and have an indoor practice facility if the weather is bad again.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yes.
So how will students get from Logan High over to Mount Logan? Will they be bused? Are they on their own for transportation?
A couple different ways we can do it. We probably won't use buses. We have a number of district vehicles that coaches can drive, and they can transport students for that. Or that we can set up that students can get there on their own. What we'll do is work with coaches and see what the needs of the team are, and then go from that. That's one of the reasons why some of our coaches have really advocated for, can we put a covered facility, a church facility somewhere at the high school. Ground-wise and space-wise, there's not a good place to do that. We've looked at a couple of options, and we're continuing to explore some possibilities. It just hasn't really been a viable option. What is more viable, we're looking at it as something that we put into our long-term facility plan, is actually turfing the baseball and softball fields. So if you put the artificial turf down for those, it's easier to clean snow off. You can have some early spring practices, even when the weather would not allow you to have practice on grass. So we're looking at that as an option as well, just to increase the access for our students to spring sports, who play spring sports in a community where it's wet and cold in the spring. That's why everybody wants to go to St. George for tournaments.
First March.
So the last slide that you have in there is our mission and our portrait of a graduate. That is something new this year. As we met with parent groups and with some focus groups of staff last year, we were asking questions, what are the things that we should be looking at moving forward to keep improving the district? This is my 10th year as superintendent. There's been some really great things happen, but what are our next steps? As a result of that, one of the things that we saw is our staff is very familiar with our mission, but in some cases there was a little bit of lack of clarity about what that means. So when we say we want students to leave our schools ready to create a positive future for themselves and their community, well, how do you define it? What does that mean? So the board this summer worked on the portrait of a graduate. And we see there are 6 primary elements there. So we've said as we talk about students leaving school ready to go out and pursue whatever path they choose to pursue and do so successfully, these are 6 things we're going to work on. We want them to be academically prepared, emotionally intelligent, we want them to be resilient and adaptable, we want them to be collaborative, know how to communicate well, how to be technologically adept, and we want them to be ethically grounded. We want them to have a clear sense of themselves, who they are, they're tied to the community, and we want them to have the skills that will allow them to really chart their own course. So as we move forward as a district, as we continue to partner with you all as a city, those are the things that we're working towards. So every initiative we put forward, every project that we work on has at its base how do we move this vision forward of helping students develop these attributes so that they can leave our schools ready to create a positive future for themselves, for their families, and for the community they live in. So thank you for your support. I'd be happy to answer any other questions you have.
You know, you
Or
were
invite you
talking,
anytime you want, come and visit what we're doing.
you were talking about the K2 reading program.
Mm-hmm.
My granddaughter got in the car the other day and she said, do you know that G sometimes sounds like J? When there's this verb is, and I said, I think it's an E. She couldn't remember which verb made the G sound like a J. And I was like, wow, I didn't learn that in 2nd grade.
They learn phonics rules, they can apply in new novel situations.
It was
It's
impressive.
amazing.
It was really impressive that she was like, this is what I learned today. So,
She's going to start spelling genie with a G then.
well, we were just talking, I don't know what we were talking about, that she just spouted that out. So that was kind of fun.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for what the school district does for our overall community. And with that,
He didn't say anything about the rec center, though.
No, nothing about that.
we're working through the details on that. I mean, I think we have a pretty good plan forward.
We've got a timeline, we
yeah.
know.
Yes.
Sat down too soon.
Yeah, we have, in terms of the rec center, we have a clear timeline of when the transition will take place, what pieces of the rec center the city's going to continue to lease, what programs will continue. So yeah, I think we're in a very clear spot with where that's going, and what role the city plays and what role the district needs to play in helping that transition work out. So we're working with our staff, our coaches now to identify, okay, long term, what do you want this facility to look like? How do you want it to function? What things do we not need? We probably don't need a spa, long term.
I didn't know there was a spa in there.
I'm sure there are individuals who say, keep it. But we're thinking, we probably don't need that. We're not going to send students in it. So, why would we keep it? So, those discussions are taking place now. But the transition and the clarity of where we're going next with the city has been fantastic.
Again, we've always communicated well. I mean, it was the oversight committee to, so we've worked together for, 45 plus years, and now we're continuing to work together as we go different directions.
Yep. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else,
I'm
Mayor
finished.
Danes? All right. Jeannie, we're moving on to council business. Do we have a planning commission update?
So do you want me to just sort of combine committee reports in my planning
Sure,
commission?
that would work.
That works.
Okay, because there was only one meeting of planning commission. I'll start with that. The warming center came before the planning commission for renewal of its conditional use permit. West Meadows, which is part of the Quail subdivision, but the part that's closest to the railroad tracks, came for a resubmittal. I think there are still some issues that will have to be worked out with canals and drainage, but maybe there'll be fewer weeds out there because that's been an issue. So we're hopeful. And Light and Power got to come to Planning Commission to talk about the substation, and the Planning Commission was like, well, we don't very often go on a bus tour, and there's already concrete down for a building that we haven't approved yet. And Mark's like, well, I didn't know I had to do that.
But then we sent him back and said he did have to do it and follow the procedure. Again, we try and follow our own rules. and-
So he was good, but I was like, yeah, this is like the light poles on First East when they went up and nobody said anything and everybody was like, what happened? And the power director then went, well, I just put up light poles. I don't have to get permission. So it was kind of funny. They teased him a little bit. So Mark was pretty good about that. In addition, continuing my committee reports, I, along with everyone else here, attended the IRP presentation on some future opportunities for us to become more energy independent. So we have more renewable energy than coal or gas-powered energy. It was a very interesting presentation, a little confusing to me, but I thought it was a really good. Mark might be much more in tune to what happened. I went to a community meeting last week, I think, or a week before last, regarding Canyon Road and the project on Canyon Road and the need for the water facility and where it is going to be located and what its function is. And part of that function is fire suppression. And the state has mandated that we have enough storage capacity to handle a fire event and to handle continued use by citizens throughout the weeks. I went to CMPO, Cache Metropolitan Planning Organization meeting. We reviewed the financial audit, which they passed with glowing colors. We talked a little bit about the Highway 8991 corridor study from Brigham to Logan through the canyon. And then we adjourned for the Council of Governments, meaning the mayors and the county executive, to talk about their, they have an allocation of money every year, and they were talking about their project alternatives, and they will vote on those next
On Monday.
on Monday. So, and then they will be incorporated into the CMPO's budget with this cost sharing that goes on. We also had it's been interesting to learn that one of the things that we try to do is we do some exchange funds with the state, because the federal, they have larger projects that are all federal projects, and so they have to file, comply with all the federal rules. And we sometimes don't have as large a projects, but we have money enough to do some projects, but it's federal money. So we'll exchange that with the state for state money, and the rules are a little bit different, and it makes it so that we can get a little bit more done with the money that we have, rather than and allow the big state projects to do the compliance with the federal government funds. So that's been interesting. I attended the water board this past week, where we discussed the sewage treatment plant and the biosolids program. And if anyone wants biosolids fertilizer, they have plenty. I think it's $10 a truckload if you'd like it. So that's what I did in the past month.
Thanks, Jeannie. Vice Chair
Jeannie always
Anderson.
has such busy months.
I know.
Yeah. I did enjoy that meeting with Siemens. I thought that was quite interesting. What stood out to me was how close it was between us getting more renewables quicker, and how there was a price difference, but it wasn't as large as I thought it was going to be.
Right.
Yeah, I thought that was quite interesting. I also attended that Canyon Road Water Storage Project meeting, and I'm sure we're going to have some more. That's what it sounds like. Yeah, so we'll just leave it at that. I did attend multiple meetings with the Crockett Watershed. I've been going with JUB to talk to some strategic shareholders along the river to try and discuss some of the information that's been put out. So that's been a really good experience. It's been fun to go visit with people in their homes and talk about the river and how a change with the Crockett Canal could affect their backyards a little bit. So it's been a really good opportunity to go visit with people in their homes. I've enjoyed that. And this is not one of my assignments, but I actually participate in the Cache Visitors Bureau as well too. And there are so many things happening in Cache Valley. And if you're not aware of what the Cache Visitors Bureau is doing, every week they put out a little announcement that tells you what's happening in Cache Valley. And there's something every week. It just blows me away. I've been doing it for about a year now, and they're on top of it, and they're promoting Cache Valley, and Logan is a big part of that. And so it's been a really enlightening meeting to visit.
And hopefully you
to be
take a
part
deep
too.
breath after the
Pumpkin Festival.
Yes.
So now we're jumping into the holiday celebration, so we'll see how that goes. So trying to be as involved in the community as possible. So that's my report.
Great,
Yeah.
thank you so much. We'll now move on to our action items. We have 2 action items. One is a public hearing. Our first action item, Russ, do you want to come and walk us through the certification for the 10th West Airport property annexation?
Yes.
Thank
I'm going to
you.
hand out some paper.
Are these the ones, did you send us this in our packet?
There are a few slides here
Oh, that are
that are not
different.
in the
Okay.
packet, so I'll give you these.
Thank you.
And I take it you just went and did this because the slide projector was
Just
down?
printed these out, yeah.
And if
Russ is
somebody in
gonna
the
skip
audience
me.
would like to look at mine, I can share with Mark, if somebody cares enough to want to follow along.
I'm unwilling to share with Mark, so thank you for sharing with me.
I would want you to share with Mark, you can just chat it up.
I did not.
Yeah, you push that button.
Oh,
Does anyone in the
stop.
audience want?
Yeah, if anyone in the audience would like, we have a couple copies up here.
First.
Okay, so this is the first step in the annexation process. It's called certification. The council has 2 choices, either to accept or deny. If you accept, then we will note it, or the city recorder will certify that acceptance, and then it goes back to planning commission and starts
over kind of like a rezone process. So you would see it in probably about 2 to 3 months after the planning commission. You can deny it, but you're supposed to, as per state law, identify deficiencies for the applicant to fix those deficiencies and come back for another chance at certification. This is approximately 57.99 acres.
Approximately. Thank you.
On the north side of town. It's 2200 north and 10th west. The long-range plan, or the FLUP, I'm gonna actually go over here and go through these as I talk, sorry.
Do you want this copy, Mark? Does that help you? Here it is.
Thanks.
Okay.
And so it's a total of 6 properties, and again, just under 58 acres. They have provided the survey. The project site is in alignment with 2200 North, which is identified on the city's master transportation plan. So we anticipate 2200 North to go through this area and connect to 10th West. The long-range plan, or the FLUP, shows the parcels split. So the 4 parcels to the north, I believe that's your 3rd or 4th slide, are airport, that's the APT, the lighter shade of purple. The lower is IP, which is industrial park, the darker shade of purple. The zoning in the area is kind of split too. There's some AP to the north, and then there's a sliver of IP directly to the east, and then mainly to the south and to the east is more IP. The last slide is more of a context, so it shows the bigger picture. Airport Road has a combination of some single-family zoning way out towards Benson, that's the yellow area, and then the bluish is Gateway, and then all the gray around the airport is airport, and then the purple to the south is IP. And then as you head closer into town, you see more browns and reds, and that's multifamily and commercial.
So why would we zone it IP
That is a great question.
instead of airport?
Well, and it looks like on that last one though, there's like the adjacent parties go from IP to airport to back to IP. So there's like a
The
weird
properties
little
on the
strip.
east, correct.
Yeah.
That IP was a recent rezone a couple years ago for that piece of property. They have not
Are they
developed it.
requesting the IP zone as
Yes.
part of the?
They are requesting the IP zone.
See, I'm not so fond of that plan.
Of the IP?
So what would be the deficiency for,
Well, you
is
could
that
put,
something that would come up later in the process?
in IP, you can put storage units.
No, you can't in
I know.
airport, you can't in
In the
IP.
airport, you can put
Airport,
storage
you can
units.
put storage units, but in IP, you cannot.
Correct? Correct.
Correct.
And
So the issues about how it's zoned though, that's not for us to decide tonight?
that would not be a deficiency of an application.
Right.
But that would be a
Ultimately
conversation.
will determine what the appropriate zone is.
So can I ask all these properties don't seem to be owned by the applicant.
Correct.
How does
Yeah.
that work?
Well, that's pretty common. We get representatives that will represent the property owner.
So do they have to have some, do they have to be certified as representing them?
The owners have to sign the application, which means the applicant is their representative.
Okay, thank you.
And
We
That's all
have
I
those
knew.
signatures.
Yeah, they're all on this page.
Here on
Yeah.
these attachments. And that's true for a subdivision permit or any permit that runs through planning commission. As long as the property owner signs it, they delegate the applicant as their representative. Any other questions of me tonight?
Are we having, this is not a public hearing.
No.
We have plenty of services available there, correct?
No, there's some deficiencies in services, those will have to be run into the area, but that's true for some of the surrounding properties that are inside the city. Depending on the size and the intensity of the development, then we're able to determine the services that are needed.
So
But some of that-
it meets all the basic criteria for annexation, though, the way I read the initial report. It's
Correct.
contiguous, it's not creating an unincorporated island, it's within our annexation expansion area, so they're meeting all of the basic requirements for requesting.
They are
Annexation.
correct.
That's what I
They're actually straightening up the line as now it jogs currently. And they meet all the paperwork required to begin the process.
Okay.
So do we have any other questions for Russ, or are we ready for a motion to certify?
So we actually don't vote on this.
Oh, we don't vote on it?
this. It's
Oh,
just a
okay.
certification, and then it'll go, there'll be a
Okay.
public notice period, back to the planning commission and public hearing, and then it'll come back to the council for a public hearing vote.
Okay,
So what do we need to do?
This is just that certification, so unless there's any other questions.
We're done.
Yeah,
You're done.
Okay.
don't
Okay.
have to do anything.
Thought there'd have to be more on an action item. Not much action involved.
The action was
Russ was
getting the
all the
paper.
action, yeah.
Thank you for the action, Russ.
yeah, we'll move on. All right, I've got really chapped lips on my
I
lips.
certify.
Our next action item is a public hearing on a budget adjustment. This is
Big one.
a huge one for us, $6,750 donation towards a Public Works training event. You want any questions for Rich or anything from Public Works about this? This was the training event that Mike attended, correct?
Yes, the Public Works Rodeo.
Mike feels well trained.
I was very well trained, but they did not spend $6,000 training me. It was on our employees. They need the training, not me. No questions for me.
All right, any other questions for Rich before we open the public hearing?
No.
All right. This is a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak to Resolution 24-40, please come to the microphone, state your name and where you live. We'd ask you to limit your comments to 3 minutes.
How will such annexation change
We're not on the annexation, we're on a budget hearing at this point in
the
time.
budget?
Pardon?
Sorry, I thought we were still doing public hearing.
We're doing a public hearing on the budget.
Resolution 20.
There was no public hearing on the annexation, Gail.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It's okay.
That's okay.
I thought there was a,
You can.
There will be
There
over
will be.
time,
okay.
but not
because
tonight.
This may affect our taxes or other things.
Yeah, so we will have a public hearing on that later. Yeah, thank you, though. All right, anybody like to speak to Resolution 24-40, our budget adjustment? Seeing no one, I'll bring it back to the council for action.
I was going to say, the one who went to the event, but you can do it, Gina.
No, go.
I move we approve Resolution 24-40.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, Resolution 24-40 passes. We do have 2 workshop items for us on our agenda this evening. The first is a budget adjustment. This is Resolution 24-42. Rich, would you like to walk us through that one?
3 items to consider that are really 2. First is I know, intrigue. First, we request appropriate $40,860 toward police overtime reimbursements. We do these quarterly, pretty much. It was a big quarter. The second and third are actually together. This is one grant that we received from the state of Utah for public safety, mental health support, but it's split between police and fire. So we have $78,750 for the police department and $162,875 for the fire.
And that's for a quarter or for a year?
That is for as long as it'll last.
Okay.
Probably this year, hopefully longer.
Okay.
Can I ask, out of curiosity, why does the fire department get almost double with the police, or over double?
Police department's asking to.
I was just curious.
I believe the state.
Was it based on looks? Is that?
I think the state is the one that determined the breakout.
Oh, so it's from the state is the reason.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just curious.
Makes
Good enough
us
reason.
better at asking.
Yes, they asked for more.
We're saner than the fire department.
Uh-oh, here comes the chief. Uh-oh.
It does look like we got twice the, which we normally do. But actually, it was off the advice of the grant committee. They've been super good to us working with law enforcement and fire over the years. Logan had been granted some dollars about 2-3 years ago. The advice we got was to try to find some areas in both law enforcement and fire that we could get some more funding from Mary Kellogg. So we identified dispatch and just use those numbers from PD since the dispatch is under the PD, and then we used our EMS division. So we were able to get more money, which was actually super fortunate. So we're super grateful to the state committee and Mary Kellogg for kind of giving us guidance through. So I know how it looks, but it's the best we could do for PD. So.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for him, we would have nothing. He's done all the work.
Yeah.
Oh,
But that is why it came out that way. So.
No, thank you for answering that for me.
thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Any other questions on Resolution 2442?
Nope.
All right, we'll move on to our final workshop item, which is consideration of a proposed resolution for a credit card convenience fee. Rich?
So we currently have an administrative limit for accepting credit card payments across the city, approximately $3,000. And the reason for that administrative limit is to control our credit card fees, which can, well, you've seen them double in the last 10 years and triple in the last, just several years. They just keep climbing. So I think the administrative limit is appropriate. Plus, what we're talking about for the most part are some of these larger one-time expenses that can be paid with a check. Just like you can't really buy a house with a credit card, as far as I know.
You can't buy a car with
Depends
a
on which
credit
credit card you
Can't buy a
have.
car even with it.
You have a nicer credit card than I do.
Toyota credit card.
Yeah, you can't buy it, yeah.
And the reason is to control those fees. So we have the same concept here. However, we do have several people who it's convenient for them and they would rather pay a convenience fee than have to try to go cut a check. So what we're asking for here is to have a credit card convenience fee established at 3%, which is approximately the cost of processing some of these. If it's a smaller payment, what's that? It could be a little bit higher or a little bit lower. So approximately, and we can adjust this from time to time. It does allow now some people to pay some of these one-time fees above and beyond the limit that we have, and we will reevaluate the limit a little bit lower, a little bit higher as we move forward, just as life happens.
So this is the 3% fee is just for things over the administrative limit, or it's for any usage of the credit
Any
card?
usage of the card.
It's any usage of the card for transactions in total.
Yeah.
Basically, if it's under 3,000, we will still allow that without the convenience fee. If it's over 3,000, you get the convenience fee on the entire amount.
So does that need to be stated on the actual resolution?
That's not.
I don't think so, because we want the ability to administratively deal with it. As you'll set the fee, we'll use it accordingly.
Yeah.
So
Now,
the fee schedule will cover that, is what you're saying?
Well, what most people don't realize is every time you use a credit card,
There's a fee.
you have to pay for it. Somebody has to pay for it, so.
Why not I just get free rewards?
I know.
They're getting more and more difficult. Now, I struggle because I like the kind of cap, because we do have a whole bunch of small fees that we collect, and as a city, it is in our best interest to collect as many of those as we can. Primarily, we're talking about utility bills.
That's
$100.
This isn't going to be
This
affecting
is not
utility
on
bills and
This will
small.
not affect
Okay.
the utility bills under 3,000. However, the utility bills over 3,000, in the past, because we could not administratively contain those fees, for lack of a better word, through our payment portal. We have gone back, calculated the cost and put that on their utility bill. These are large commercial customers who know it's our practice that we don't accept over $3,000. For those people, it will be 3% going forward rather than us trying to estimate what the cost is.
Okay. But we're not setting a $3,000 limit on it with this resolution.
I would prefer, if council's amenable to it, leave that within the administrative ability to determine who receives this fee and who does not. Again, from the finance perspective, all those little payments I would like to continue to collect without a convenience fee. The ones above, I would like to charge the convenience fee. Just because the ones above are few and far between, and they have the ability to pay through other means. The ones that are smaller, it would be an administrative burden for us to try to collect those through another method. It's just too difficult. Now, as we move forward, we're going to have to evaluate whether we continue to incorporate these fees that we are not charging, incorporate those through the rates that we charge. And at some point, we may determine otherwise. I'll bring that to council if that becomes the issue. Right now, we're just dealing with things over the limit, which currently is 3,000 versus those.
So if you can walk, so when we say it's administratively established limit, explain that process of who identifies what the administrative set limit is?
Finance department, as we look at the fees and try to determine what that cutoff should be. It will probably climb over time, just because when the average utility bill is $3,000 for your residential home, we're going to want to increase those.
I hope that doesn't happen. That's
Well, so but if someone pays late and it's accumulative and they hit that $3,000 limit, then in effect they would be adding that 3% expense to themselves if they choose to not pay for a period of time. Or for whatever reason they don't pay, I shouldn't say choose.
Except we shut off the utilities pretty quickly if they don't pay.
We do, but it climbs up. Usually you're 90 days by the time you're shut off. You have 90 days worth of utility payments out there. You're probably 60
There
days.
there could be a business or something.
So can I play the devil's advocate here for a second?
Please.
So we approve this resolution, and 5 years from now, the finance department decides that they want to apply this to all transactions, including utility payments. Technically, once this is approved, that would be within the ability of the finance department to do so.
It would.
Without
Even letting us know.
without any oversight, without any notification. It could, I don't love that. I mean, I like you, but what about the next guy? I mean,
you hear about it you'll be able to hear about it from a customer.
Sure.
And they can complain to you. I think there are certain things that need to be within the administrative side of government, and it answers to the mayor who is an elected official.
And if there's enough outcry, then,
You can change it.
propose a resolution.
There are many businesses now that are starting to charge that fee to everyone because it is burdensome. It's
I think you and I
really
both,
expensive.
I look at what mine
We've
are.
debated this
I get
for
it.
10 years at our business, and it's just like how you got to charge one way or another. So,
And realistically, we are.
Again,
Whether it's implicit or
Right.
explicit.
yeah.
and I completely understand that. I see my credit card fees that I pay that I don't charge to my customers, right? I understand it.
Yeah.
But it makes me hesitant to approve a resolution that allows it to be added without any oversight to everyone's utility bills. That does make me a little hesitant.
Well, we do have oversight of the finance department in a variety of ways.
Yeah, you approve the budget.
Administratively approve the budget, et cetera. So I don't know that we want council to be setting every single little thing as well. So I think there's going to be a balance between what's administrative and what's legislative.
So we will,
If conceptually, the finance department believes that it's better for the overall budgeting of Logan City and the way income and expenses, I think that is something that we have charged them with, operating as efficiently as possible. So
He's told me he doesn't like doing math, so.
and that really is the reason for it. we have to balance where is that limit where we start having to do more work because we're trying to add a fee, therefore people are avoiding paying through the most repeatable method. And so that really is the purpose. I mean, if council would like that oversight, it's fine. It's just we're going to have to come back every time something changes or fees change. Because if the credit card fees change, that could affect a little bit. And we did just go through a pretty significant change. We're not.
But I think
entirely
you've always come to us and told us about that.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
So I feel like we have the opportunity to weigh in without being mandated to weigh in.
And people always have the opportunity to come and talk to council about the things they feel are inappropriate or unfair. I know it's uncomfortable, but that would be my preference. That if you don't feel that way, totally okay if you want to post a limit.
I mean, actually, Rich works for us, remember?
Like I said, it's not Rich that I don't trust, it's the next guy.
The next guy works for us too.
Or girl. Sure.
Or group.
We changed that once upon a time. They don't.
I'm just saying
they
the,
don't work just for
the longevity of work, there's no time limit on it. Who knows, 30 years down the road or 40 years. That's the thing that makes me.
The one thing I would say is, up until this point, you may or may not have known there was an administrative limit.
Oh, my new guy card.
Although we do post it to our website, we were required to inform all the credit card providers, and we've done all those types of things. And we do notify the customers as well, saying, hey, you know what's going on.
And obviously people could choose another way to pay.
And
They can pay by check.
Yeah.
it's a lot.
I can go buy some more checks.
It adds up really fast.
It does.
If you do $1 million in utilities, it's $30,000 in credit card fees that the bank is just standing there with their hand out, ready to take.
And we're at $500,000 right now.
Yeah. So you're paying $15,000 a month just for someone to pay with their credit card. I think we can charge the fee.
And it's those larger customers that have another method that we're trying to kind of keep from getting a $15,000.
I do believe everyone has another method.
Yeah.
Almost everybody does.
Let's say, I'll bet there are people though who might have to throw the utilities on credit here and there.
Yeah.
Right, like it might, and that's like, there are situations where, and I know that you're not planning on imposing this fee on those people at this time, but that's, there are people that live paycheck to paycheck, and adding another fee onto their,
I would think if we dropped that fee though to like $500, we would hear about it super fast. If the finance department said, now we're going to start charging it on any payment over $200, I think we would hear about it very, very quickly.
Because that would impact some residential. Right now at $3,000, that's a lot of utilities, but
it's a lot of water.
The underlying question
You got a broken
is,
sprinkler line.
somebody has to pay for it.
Right.
Somebody has to pay for it, and it's 2 to 3% every time you swipe your card. So somebody's going to pay, whether it's the city or whether it's the user. It should go to the user, not the city, as a burden. But
Well, ultimately, we all pay because prices go up.
Right.
yeah,
I mean, most places just build it into their cost.
yes.
All right, any other comments or discussion on Resolution 2441?
I made that longer, I'm sorry.
All right, thank you, Rich. And this will be on our agenda next meeting, and it will be a public hearing, so people will have the opportunity to weigh in as well. Are there any other considerations for this evening from the council?
I have one item. I think there's a lot of people in our community that don't realize that if you have a business in Logan, you can get a library card. And all you have to do is go and fill out the application and put your little business card there, and you can get a library card for your business.
I did not know that.
I'm gonna go turn mine in tonight.
Okay.
So
Don't
we
you have
will
a house in Logan too?
Yeah, but for my
I think the
business, it's
library's
nice.
closed, isn't it?
Is it closed? Oh,
That's because we let Mike talk too long.
I know. Mike, way to go. I was gonna go turn it in.
Can I talk more?
I was gonna give it to Karen when she was here, but I thought that was a little.
This is more for the public that's listening, but next time we, sorry.
I
you still
thought
go.
they had some maintenance they were doing.
Yeah, possibly.
They were closed
Yes.
today.
They were closed yesterday and
To
today.
fix some,
Yeah.
The staircase.
That's
The
why.
staircase.
That's why.
something that wasn't done in the initial construction.
If you own a business in Logan, you can have a library card, which is quite beneficial for your business. So there's things that I would check out at the library for my business that I might not check out personally. So Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Any other considerations?
It's, next time we meet, it's election day, so get out and vote in the next 3 weeks. So if you're not registered, you have like another couple days to check that registration.
Yeah, actually, I think October 25th is the last day to register to vote.
In person.
In person, and then you can vote conditionally after that, but the 25th is the final day to
Was
register.
today the last day to register to vote?
Are we going to have a little tour of the election?
Ballots came out today.
Did they? Can we go out there?
Yeah, you can go out on election day.
Yeah, I would love to go see what they're
Is the last day
doing.
that.
Yeah,
But
ballots,
there's a different day for mail-in.
ballots came
And I
out
think it's-
today.
Yeah,
It might have been
I
yesterday.
got my ballot, yeah, today.
I haven't got mine yet.
Really?
but yeah, vote,
They should be, most of them do now. Get out and vote.
it's good. All right.
Good reminder.
Anything else? All right, seeing nothing, we are adjourned.
See you, everyone.
Teresa, you were 22
Rich, I
minutes
trust
off.
you. I don't trust you. I'm gonna go.
So disappointed.